to The Pursuit of Living Well and A Course in Miracles. We are going through the entire year of 2019 with daily lessons and excerpts from the text about how to shift our mindset from fear to love so that we can really make this year the best year yet. Sound good? For any of you that were watching with me before, I had started this channel over the summer and it became really chaotic for me with a bunch of things happening at once, and I had no strategy for the videos. I was just recording on the spot, and truthfully it didn't feel like it was really coming out with what I was fully capable of offering, and so it just wasn't the right time. And I was thinking a lot about when to begin, when to start new, and well, this new year is the perfect time because we have some kind of support for every single day of 2019. So next year of 2020, when it comes to January 1st, you're gonna look back on your year and you're gonna be like, wow, so many changes, but I feel great. My mind feels strong. I feel creative. I feel at peace with myself. I got rid of the things that weren't serving me anymore, the things that were sacrificing my well-being. And look at my relationships. My relationships are flourishing. And those that weren't are no longer part of my life. I am a happier person. And I understand that I'm the creator of my reality. I understand the perspective of love. And I can tell the difference between judgment, fear, and those negative emotions, and love. So let's start with lesson number 2. Before I begin, let's read some pages. This isn't too much. This is about revelation, time, and miracles. Revelation is kind of that spark and new thought that we have that induces the miracle. And the miracle is the action, but revelation is that light coming on in your mind. Revelation induces complete but temporary suspension of doubt and fear. It reflects the original form of communication between God, the universe, our Creator, and His creations, involving the extremely personal sense of creation, sometimes thought in physical relationships. Physical closeness cannot achieve revelation. Miracles, however, are genuinely interpersonal and result in true closeness with others. Revelation unites you directly with the higher self, with God, with the vibration of the universe, with creativity. And so the emphasis that we put on our relationships are sometimes all that we depend on. We depend on our partner, we depend on our boss, we depend on our friends, and our communications that are happening in those relationships often dictate our lives like we're a pinball to them. When really the one relationship that matters the most is that relationship you have with yourself. Because within yourself is your potential to connect with the love that only exists. Again, quantum physics shows that as we vibrate, we're not really in physical form, if we want to speak super scientifically. But we are, and we have eyes and we perceive this reality. But what I want to suggest and open your mind to is that there is another reality. May you call that heaven? Sure. May you call that a higher dimensional reality? Sure. May you call that some parallel universe that we can't see that might exist? Sure. But if we can imagine a reality purely based on unconditional love, this world would look a whole lot different. But it looks the way it is now because we're selective. And the way we can make the most change is within our relationships. So make that change with yourself and expect your relationships to change. They will. The miracle minimizes the need for time. In the longitudinal or horizontal plane, the recognition of the equality of the members of the sonship appears to involve almost endless time. However, the miracle entails a sudden shift from horizontal to vertical perception. This introduces an interval from which the giver and receiver both emerge farther along in time than they otherwise would have been. The miracle thus has the unique property of abolishing time to the extent that it renders the interval of time it spans unnecessary. There is no relationship between the time a miracle takes and the time it covers. The miracle substitutes for learning that might have taken many, many years. This thought-changing process brings you a sense of self-awareness that gives you the power to evolve, to mature, to see things in a different way, to make changes. Without awareness, we can't make changes, and so we're just that pinball in our life. And that's what this is saying right here, is the miracle substitutes for learning that might have taken many years. It does so by the underlying recognition of perfect equality of giver and receiver on which the miracle rests. So, to extend what I was just saying, with those relationships, they're often based on judgment without awareness. We associate because we like, we don't associate because we dislike, and that kind of builds our whole sense of who we are. Can you imagine? Now, can you imagine? But if you can learn to see yourself and the sonship, which is all that exists as one light, then we can see equality in both the giver and the receiver. This greatly changes our relationships and also tiny bit introduces the idea of why forgiveness is a thing, why forgiveness can help us, because we're equal and what we see isn't necessarily true on the outside because that person has a process as well. They might not be self-aware, and it's up to you to be the conduit. So we can hold resentment, but all you're really doing is saying, I don't understand what that person is thinking or doing. What you really don't understand is your own self, that person is a reflection of you, and the universe is always providing us with lessons to evolve. So take it as a lesson in dignity. Take it as a lesson in maturity. Forgive. You hear the saying, something about being kind to your enemies. Be kind to your enemies, because you can put that flame out instead of fueling it. Anyways, I'm getting a little off track. So one more thing that I want to share is, in the longitudinal or horizontal plane, the recognition of the equality of the members of the sonship appears to involve almost endless time. However, the miracle entails a sudden shift from horizontal to vertical perception. As I mentioned, these lessons that we're learning that the universe throws at us to help us evolve, think of yourself as in an elevator. You're on a floor. This is the vibration at which you're at. The universe is reflecting back to you the vibration that you're putting out. And so if you don't want to experience this vibration anymore and you want to evolve, You start practicing these habits, these love-based thoughts, and you go up in the elevator instead of playing ping pong on that floor. And as you go up, Marianne Williamson says this quote, "As you shine your light, you give others permission to shine theirs too. So others can rise up with you. Don't be sad if they don't, because it's their process. And your evolution is first and foremost. And you're going to meet new people on that floor that are going to provide that support for you that you want to live authentically. That brings you happiness." It's a real practice in maturity and in detachment, in acceptance and letting go. These things are important. So we're on to lesson 2. I have given everything I see in this room, on the street, from this window, in this place, all the meaning that it has for me. Yesterday, these things had no meaning, but today we're recognizing that we have given them meaning. I have given this plant meaning, whether I like it or not. I have given the speakers meaning, whether I want to see them as obnoxious or whether I see them as useful. I have given my terrace meaning, whether I intend to use it or I don't, or I see it as beautiful or I see it as I wish I could redesign it. And then you look about you further and you do the same thing. I have given the kitchen all the meaning that it has for me. Whether I love to cook for myself or whether I don't, I've given that kitchen meaning, and that has a positive or a negative association. I have given this sofa all the meaning that it has for me. And whether I choose to sit on the sofa or not sit on the sofa, sometimes dependent on who's all been on my sofa. We have a lot of guests in our house, and I am just one that likes my own like touching. That sounds really bad, but it's true because there's a lot of dead skin cells, and sometimes that affects if I want to lay on the couch or not. And I want to vacuum the couch. So I've given that couch meaning. Do this close to you and do this far away from you, again, twice a day. You don't have to ask yourself, what is the meaning that I've given to this thing? You don't have to go that far. All you have to do is lay your eyes upon something and say, I have given this plant all the meaning that it has for me. I've given this terrace all the meaning that it has for me. I've given this computer all the meaning that it has for me. I've given this bathroom all the meaning that it has for me. I've given the front door all the meaning that it has for me. I've given that photograph all the meaning that it has for me. And that's it. And that's just to let you know that things do have a meaning, but you have made things meaningful based on your own selections. And everyone's selections are different based on your everything. So that's lesson 2. Thanks for watching with me today. Make sure you subscribe so that you can get these daily and you don't miss anything. I will see you next time. Thank you so much.